Who's doing live with us. Sorry that I cut the phone.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, all over the world. Today is a beautiful time on Live Assurance. Welcome you, everybody. Please share as much as you can. And we have a lot of things that we're going to talk today. It is Mopapa family. I want them to introduce themselves. How are you doing, girls? What's your name from the left side?
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Sad and I'm 15.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm 13.
Wow.
Hi guys, I'm Blessing and I'm 17.
This is so, we're talking about the issue that matters to me personally. I love to talk about the Black Lives Matter, and this is another episode about Black Lives Matter. I'm here with the Papa family, and we have a lot to talk with you. We have a lot. I want them to share what is in their mind about discrimination. What do you understand by discrimination or racism? I will start from Blessing.
What I understand of racism is basically another
You have to speak louder.
another race that is discriminating the lower case of races. And yeah.
And for me, it's another if you're not like the same as someone else, like different skin colors, trying to like make you feel bad about your skin color.
Do you feel bad about it?
No, I don't feel bad about it.
So what do you think, Christina?
What I think about is racism is that because of this holiday, many people, what's the word again? Underestimate Black people. That's what I understand of racism.
Wow, this is amazing. I want you to share because we have a lot to discuss with you, and they have been through it. I want them to share their experience. I want them to share how did they feel of being discriminated and how to overcome it. I'm so happy, and I can't wait for them to share their experience with us. Have you been discriminated before, Blessing?
Yes, definitely. I have been discriminated.
Wow.
A lot since I live in a foreign country with a different skin color, where there's more the whites or different races here that I'm not used to. My skin color, and definitely yes, I have experienced racism.
Well, what about you, Sarah? Have you been discriminated before?
Yes, I have been discriminated before since this whole time I've been living in a foreign country.
Well, you know you were born in Finland.
Yeah.
Wow, and you know that you're living in a foreign country. Wow, what about you, Christian? Have you been discriminated before?
Yeah, many times till now. That I don't really, I ignore the mean comments because I love from where I come from, but the country I live in, there's like many people who are like racist. So if someone says a racist comment to you, just ignore it.
Wow. So can you please tell me or tell our viewers your experience, how you've been discriminated, or your experience of racism, where and how, what's happened to you? Share your story. Yeah, Blessing.
I have been discriminated in so many different ways. Sometimes you don't even realize that you've been discriminated until afterwards. Definitely the most place I have got racially discriminated is definitely school and probably streets or like neighborhood. They would call me dirty because I was black.
They call you dirty?
Yeah, because I was black, or that I should go back to my own country, or that African people or dark-skinned people are monkeys. Their skin color is black because of the dirt they build up in their skin. So many different things, and yeah.
Wow. So how do you overcome that?
Personally, for me.
Sorry, before we go, I want to hear from Sarah. Before we go, how do you overcome that? I want to hear from Sarah. You say you've been discriminated before. Can you share your story? What's happened to you? Where and how really, what do you feel about it?
I have been discriminated a lot in many different ways. In school most of the time because Like, I used to be normally alone because no one wanted to play with me because they thought that I was dirty, I didn't take showers, and that I always play in the dirt, like mud or something like that. And I always felt really sad about it. But now that I'm getting older, I start loving myself more, and I start not listening to them. And when I was younger at school, people would always accuse me for things just because I was black, and they would always say that I did this because I'm this and that. And I would normally just try my best to focus on my studies.
So what are the things that people think about you wrong? What are the real things that happen to you in the school? You mentioned that you've been discriminated in the school, or you face racism in the school. So what's the action? What really happened in your school?
Well, a lot of people accuse me of like taking things from other people and stuff like that.
Like what?
Like
Who accuse you of it?
my teachers and some of my classmates.
So what did your teacher say to you that you feel like you have been discriminated?
She always tells me that once when I was at school, there was my classmate girls, her purse was stolen, and our class door was open. And so I told the teacher that I saw someone went into our class because there was like these boys. So they went into our class, and I thought they were just like going there because normally we have people that can go inside our classes. So I just left. So then after they told us that this girl's purse has been stolen, they started looking at me and started telling me that maybe she's the one who did it. So they told me to come to another class with the teacher, and they started telling me that you did this and stuff like that. And I always said that I didn't do it. But then the issue started getting bigger because they thought that I am the one who did it.
So the teacher thought you were the one who stole it, who stole something, because you're a black person?
Yeah.
Wow. How do you feel that time when the teacher, says something like that to you?
Well, I felt really mad because if another person would say that from my class, obviously my teacher believed when they said that, when she asked everybody, she said that who did this, they said no. So she said okay, and so when I said I didn't do it, that's when she started thinking some otherwise.
So how do you overcome that? What happened? Did you tell your parents?
I told my parents. First, they got a call from school, and so my parents would like, when I came home, I told my parents. Then my parents talked to teachers and everything. Then I started feeling better that, okay, maybe next time it won't happen, but it kept on going.
No. So up to now, do you still feel that you are still experiencing racism in the school?
Not always, not as much as that time, but
Because I remember you changed the school. You changed. You are now in Vista.
Yeah.
So what do you still experience racism in Vista up to now?
I did.
In the new school? Wow. So Sir Christian, what do you understand? You said something how you understand, but you understand this discrimination and racism. So have you experienced that before?
Yeah.
So can you share your experience to our viewer? They want to know.
Well, when I was in the school called Donganko, which had so much like bad memories then. Once me and my sisters went to school, I was like early. So I went to the bathroom and I saw there were these 3 girls who would always say like racist comments to me. And so I saw them in the bathroom, and then they like took my bag, and like in the bathroom there used to be like I remember like water inside. And then I would like start crying and tell them to give my bag back. And so then when I went to class, my teacher got mad at me that my bag was wet, and I don't understand why she didn't give me the chance to explain why.
So the teacher don't give you, can you tell me, the teacher don't give you time to explain?
Yeah, like what happened.
Okay.
So I was trying to tell her, and then she was like, no, you're outside, it's fine, every kid does that. And I was just like, no, people did it to me. And I was just like, why can't you guys like look at the camera and see that I'm not wrong? And she's like, no, it's fine, just dry it.
So do you think that they do something like that happened to you because of the color of who you are?
absolutely.
So what do you feel inside of you when such of a thing happened to you?
Well, I was really like angry. Really wanted to like scream at the teacher, but I didn't want to do that. So I tried like I told like one of my favorite teachers, and then she helped me dry my bag and gave me new notebooks.
Okay. Wow. Is there any, I mean, is in your first school in Tamila, do you experience that also?
Yeah, this was in
What about in Vista? In the
No.
middle? You haven't experienced discrimination in Vista?
No, not really, but the first year, yeah, but not anymore.
So how do you feel when such of a thing? What do you think being in this color that as a black person, what do you feel? Do you feel inferior? Do you feel like you shouldn't be black? Or do you feel like it's painful for you to be a black person?
No, at the time I used to like think that why am I this color? Is it because of where I am from? People are bullying me. But I have learned that I should love my skin color no matter what.
Mhm. But what do you think like this? When you experience such of a thing, do you feel bad of being a black? What do you feel inside of you about who you are?
That time when I used to get discriminated, I always felt like I don't want to be like this anymore. I just want everyone else so I can be like normal. But now that I'm starting to get older, I started to understand more, and I started liking from where I'm coming from and how I am. So it's not a bad thing to be black or anything. It's a good thing.
So what do you think that the teacher in your school or the authority in your school, do you think that they accept you the way you are, or do you think that they still have them in their mind of kind of you're different from other kids? I want you to come from your mind. What do you think? What is going on in your school? Sarah,
Well,
or anyone can say after Sarah.
well, for me, that time they just wanted to pick on me all the time because I was different from the other kids. Because that time I was the only black girl from my class, and there wasn't really that much black kids in that time in our school. So it was pretty much kind of like me and my siblings, and then there was probably like some other cats, like one or two. So I think they always picked on me because I was different from other people, and they just wanted more of their kind to be around. And for me, it's always like they always try to.
I know before you were so sad,
Yeah.
but this time now you're growing up. But I want you to like open your mind and say what you've experienced outside you were at that time. Go on.
I was because when I was little, I always was alone at school, and my siblings were already old enough to go to first grade and everything, and I was that time in preschool, so I was always like playing alone and stuff like that. I always tried to make friends, but sometimes they wouldn't like want to be my friend. And then when I started going to first grade and everything, I started getting more friends, like little by little, and I was always sad, like really sad, and I always tried to always tell my mom that, like, why am I always like this? And I always wanted to be like all my other friends too.
So you are feeling like why you are facing this
Yeah.
and you want to be white,
Yeah.
that you don't like to be a black person. So what do you feel also inside of you? Do you feel the same thing like that before?
Yeah, before, but I have grown to know.
I mean before
Yeah.
before you feel like you feel like you should be a white person.
Not really. I felt like I should be. People should respect me like they would respect black people. I mean white people, but they didn't. So yeah, sometimes I felt like that.
So how are you feeling right now?
Thinking about the past, I'm glad that I have learned to love my color and my culture. And yeah, so
How do you overcome it? Who helped you?
my mom and my big sister.
What your big sister did? Who's that person?
Mostly, she and my mom, they taught me how to, if someone like says something to you, like to like not be afraid to defend yourself. To they taught me how to protect myself. Example, someone like beats me up or something. They like taught me what to do, not to like hide it from grown-ups. To come up with the teacher and parents to sit down and talk about it, that what they have taught me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you, what do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
What was the question?
The question is that when you've been bullied or been discriminated when you're small, how do you feel? How painful that situation was for you? Do you feel like you want to fight person, or you don't really like the color of who you are that time? Because I know you're young that time.
Yeah, definitely. It was a long time ago, so I don't really remember that much of that moment. But yeah, definitely it did take a big toll on my life. And I was definitely sad, and I don't really remember how it was. I remember wanting to be white. I always loved my skin color how it is. I definitely wanted to relate more to the white kids in my class, or just be, have friends
Mhm.
and fit in with other people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that situation? Because I remember when you were in grade 1 or 2, there was a time that you really don't want to go to school anymore. You are scared of going to school. That
Yeah.
you don't want to go to school. So what's come over you? What kind of feeling are you feeling at that moment, at that time?
I definitely don't remember how I felt, but if I didn't want to go to school, definitely I did feel somehow very bad.
So what's going on in your school now? How do you feel in your school now? Do you still feel like there are people who are still discriminating you in your school at this moment?
Definitely.
And is he your teacher, and how do you feel about it?
Definitely, I feel like the teachers do still have some kind of, not all teachers, definitely not all,
Mhm.
but some still do have something towards Black people. I don't know what it is. And also students, even though they multicultural, have friends who are Black, they still don't know what and when it's racist or defended, like it's offensive towards a Black person.
Mm.
They might say it, they might not mean it, they might mean it, but still it's offensive. And like now, definitely I know how to stand up for it and the facts, because I have been learning a lot about our culture and the African history and all the slavery and everything. So I feel like it's easier to defend myself now than it was. So you educate yourself more, so it's way easier to talk about other people and try to re-educate the other classmates or teachers who are being racist towards you. And definitely, if you are being discriminated, you have to talk about it, or it will not fade away. It will still be there. And also, I feel like talking to the teachers about it, if you're going to be racist towards your classmate, talking to teachers nowadays doesn't really help.
You mean that talking to the teacher nowadays doesn't help?
No,
either?
definitely doesn't.
So do you feel like those teachers are siding it, or they are also kind of they are siding those who are discriminating you, or the teacher also they are part of it?
I feel like the teachers are a big part of it, since in schools they teach not to bully, they teach the white people culture, history, but don't really bring out the African history in it, or talk about discrimination or racism in general. They talk about racism between don't say the N word, but they don't say why you don't say the N word, because if you don't
You mean like they don't tell the details about not to discriminate Black people?
Exactly. When they don't get into details, I feel like students will not learn. It's exactly the same thing if you say, today we're going to learn how to do multiplication, and you don't explain what it is to a student. It's like the exact same thing when you say, don't say the N word, but you don't explain why. Even then the student will still say it, because it's the same thing. Example, when you tell a student smoking is bad, but if you don't say why, they will still do it.
Okay. Wow. I love that. So what do you think, and how can we find solution to this, Kristen? How do you think that you'll be satisfied in the school for this?
Honestly, I feel
What
like
effort do you think that the teacher need to do, or the government of Finland also need to contribute to?
I feel like they should teach more about the Black history, in our school, like we haven't learned nothing about Black history except what happened to slavery in America. But I feel like we should know more about the Black people.
Because I know you were born here,
Yeah. I feel like people should know what actually happened because there is many things that we learn at school. For example, in music, like Beethoven, they taught that he was white, but he's actually Black, which the teachers should
You
have.
mean music?
Yeah,
They taught what?
They don't really like show where music originally
Came from. Yeah.
and when someone like explains that, they're like, or writes it in the exam, it's basically wrong, even though it's originally the Black people who make music. So I feel like if teachers want to teach students of anything, they should like say where it actually original than just saying that, oh, this is the first person we have seen who has used this. But you have to say where it originally came from. So yeah.
And Sarah, what do you think that the teacher need to do more to reduce this discrimination around the Black people in Finland in the school?
I think that they should more, like they said, that when you're teaching, like when the teachers teach, they should really go into detail, not just like go like from topic to the other topic. They should actually go into detail, and like she said that when they always say that this person who's white made this, and they don't, like people like in our school, when we have like pictures of this, like if you want to donate to those people in Africa who are like poor and stuff like that, they always put the bad side of Africa and they don't put like the good side. They never talk about how good
What
and
Africa
how hardworking and everything,
Exactly.
how creative we actually are. They always put
Wow, I just love what she just said now. She said that many times in the school that they do not place something about the good side of the Black people. When they show like when they're asking for donations or they're asking for something, they always show the bad side of what is happening in Africa. She's saying that she's expecting that in the school that they should be showing the good side of what is happening in Africa. I also appreciate that. You can continue what you just said.
Yeah. Like I was saying, they always put the bad side, and they never show of how creative we actually are, and how many things we have made for the world, around the world, not only here in Europe, but all around the world. And like they always show that white people did this, did that, and this, that, and everything like that. But always when I try to tell my teacher, like what can we talk about, like how good Africa and everything, they always say that we don't like really teach that at school. I'm like,
or they say that it's like not in the list of teaching.
studies.
Yeah.
Studies.
And
Wow.
Curriculums.
Wow. So it's teaching teaching about African or telling them about Africa or African history is one of the solutions that we need to look about. It's about one of the solutions to reduce I know we cannot end it perfectly because we have some people who really part of the problem that they don't want they don't want the freedom of the Black people. But we have a lot of people who also fighting for the Black Lives Matters. But as she just said, that it is very good that we teach in the school to let the student understand the history of different culture. And do you think that they do study other culture except the Finland or Finnish culture in the school?
They learn.
So what about other?
American cultures?
They talk about American culture and Asian culture, but they don't talk about Africa in the school, which is not very good. I think the Finnish government also should pull it out there to encourage the schools to encourage the school to start teaching about the history of Africa, history of Black people, because it helps in a situation whereby to reduce the injustice, discrimination, the racism that we are experiencing in this country. I love this. What do you think in your mind that you would like to share to the world to also know about racism and discrimination generally, and what do you think that you can add to it as you are?
I feel like definitely a school is a huge part of teaching students, kids about racism or about loving each culture. But the best and the most important place it has to be learned is at home through the parents, because when a child is growing, they're definitely learning most of their things from their parents, how the parents act towards other races. If the kid has been growing with African people or Asian people, obviously they're gonna be more used to seeing Black people or Asian people during their life. And I have a friend whose both parents are like very racist towards Black people,
Wow.
but she still loves African people because the school she went to had mostly African people, and they talked. You know, when you have experienced with different cultures, you know, multiple cultures or people from different countries, definitely they may feel more comfortable, and if they tell something different, for example, like Black people are this and that, they're not going to believe it because they have African friends or Asian friends who have been there through their lives. And definitely also in the houses, if the parents teach them that African people are this and that, that's how the child would think through the years of them growing until if they want to change and if they think otherwise. And yeah.
Well, what do you think also?
Well, I think, like she said too, that when the kids always learn mostly from the home, from their parents, how they act, and if you're example, if the kids' parents are nice to other races, they're obviously gonna be nice to other races too at school too, and since school, they always don't really talk about how nice and good Black people are. So I think if they talk more at home, or if their parents know otherwise or think otherwise, they're gonna obviously tell their kids. But most parents are really racist to other races. So obviously that's how their kids are gonna grow and how they're gonna start behaving really. They're gonna start behaving really racistly to other races, and yeah.
Wow. Christy, what do you think?
I think that before the mistake that some racist parents have done is that they didn't teach their children or child races. That's why there are many.
Please share as much as you can. If you have any question, they are ready to answer you. Please share. I'm still looking at if there's any question that our viewer want to ask them. Please share. You said something. Please do that.
So, in my opinion, the mistake that racist parents had, the mistake they did is that they should have taught their children that to respect all races, to love everyone, not to
discriminate.
Yeah, and underestimate people. For example, if one place there's 4 places, doesn't mean that everyone there is poor. So it doesn't mean that if you see someone coming from a country that is there isn't much, doesn't mean that you have to think. Doesn't mean you have to underestimate them. I have been underestimated a lot, but if you have, just ignore them. Yeah.
Are you depressed when you experience those moments? Do you feel depressed in that time?
No, I haven't reached the depression, but almost, but not. I have never been.
What about you, Sarah? Do you feel depressed at that time?
Not really, but I was really sad, but not reaching to that level.
But do you feel do you feel depressed at that time? Because I remember I never want to go to school that time.
I feel like I was probably kind of depressed.
So how do you overcome it?
I honestly don't remember, But definitely, I feel like something that could help a lot of people who are going through racism or anything is learn your self-worth, your culture's worth, and your like background. Like we're learning about your culture and like embracing it, and also knowing how much Africa itself has done for the world, and how much we have already that have been stolen or we still have. Like you know how rich your background is, so it kind of helps also.
So you believe that teaching the African history in the school is much important?
Yeah, it definitely is, because as in history has been shown, like how Europeans are one of the richest, America is one of the richest like countries in the world, and how Asia and Africa are shown as some areas that are poor. Definitely because if we weren't stolen from Africa to America, or if our things wouldn't have been stolen, like our gold, our chocolate in Congo, how they stole them a lot and cut their like kids' hands off to make chocolate, and how much we have gone through. And if we didn't have to go through that in the history, we would have been probably the richest country in the world.
Exactly.
Continent. Same to Asia, probably would also be, and like America and Europe wouldn't have as big as population or rich as they are now. And definitely, if Africans would have known their self-worth back then, because definitely.
So you feel like Africa don't know their worth?
Yes, definitely. I feel like there too, like how, for example, the statues that they gave to UK, they gave it just like that because they had so many of it. They didn't think about the worth. They just gave it. And then now the people who are growing up now, learning the history, knowing the value of what they made, now for money that it costs over billions of money, and now people are understanding, oh, that thing was worth this much, and our ancestors gave it away because our ancestors weren't specifically thinking, oh, this is very expensive and we should sell it, but no, they gave it away because they already had so much of it, and people knew how to do it so much already. They were like, oh, it's a normal thing. For example, now what's a normal thing is giving example. If someone comes to my house and asks me to give them food, I'll give it right away because I don't know the worth of what I'm giving away. That's the same thing as how they were thinking back then.
Wow. Yeah. She just says something that is so important, that African ourselves, that we don't know the worth, or we don't know the value of what we have. So that African have sold themselves. Oh my God, she just said something, Lord. I don't want to preach right now, but I just love what she just said. Africans need to understand the value of what they have, and Africans need to understand the importance of who they have. So we have to carry the image of who we are. We have to have the confidence of who we are. We have to be proud of who we are. So the solution starts within us, and the solution starts within the country that we are living, that we need to share the culture of Africa. We need to teach our children and also the other race, our culture, how rich they are. And I love the program that we are coming up with, Black Girls Land. What do you think about Black Girls Land? And what do you think, how can we do it?
Definitely empowering younger African kids. I feel like because we're a new generation, we have to know how much we're worth. And I feel like a lot of African youngsters, like my age also, including or younger or older people, they don't know a lot about the culture and history of Africa. So they are like, joining into other cultures and without knowing their own culture, not knowing their worth, and not being proud of a lot of Black boys are not like, they discriminate Black girls, darker skinned girls, because they are like, African girls are so loud. They don't let the culture. Yeah, and even a lot of popular rappers, they talk so many bad things about African women, even though they're themselves Black. So they don't talk about good things about Black people. They talk about bad things, even though they're Black themselves. It's just like example, if you're talking bad about Black people yourself, it just shows other races how unproud or taking Africa as a worthless country.
Wow.
Like if you're doing that, obviously people will be seeing Africa like that. When you're Black yourself and talking bad about it, it doesn't make sense at all. And like definitely,
I wish we I wish we wear the T-shirt of the Black Girls Land.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I think the next time there will be the episode about the kids' perspective of Black Lives Matter about racism. They have to put on the Black Girls Land T-shirt. So you said something. Can you please continue? I'll just break you
Yeah,
up.
and also definitely teaching kids about black culture, growing them up in their culture, even though we're in another foreign country, is very important. And taking them to see other Black kids, like growing into African community. Like for example, now me, I don't have a lot of African friends, obviously, because we grew apart. But growing up in the African community really helps a kid grow and not be discriminated as they are. Like I was discriminated a lot when I was a little kid because there wasn't a lot of African people in Finland at that time. But now as there's more African people, I feel more like proud and more the community is getting closer. I'm like, okay, there's other Black people here. Wow, that's cool. And like you're growing together and so you can work towards something in the foreign country and showing together, like example, opening up some restaurant or bringing back culture little by little into the country and showing the white people or white other races how much you're proud of your culture and not joining into their culture. Like yeah.
Wow, what do you think
Well,
about Black Girls Land program that we're about to start?
right. I think Black Girls Land is really a next step forward to bringing younger kids and everything like that to know how much they're worth around this world, and they should love themselves, who they are, and try to speak up for themselves. Because I was I was normally really not shy and everything, but now that I started going to school, ever since I started going to school, I started maybe when I was younger, I started kind of becoming quieter and didn't really want to tattletale on teachers or what someone said bad about me. I would just try to be quiet so I can make friends and stuff like that, so make it look like I wouldn't tell the teacher. But now I'm trying to step it up and speak up to myself and all that stuff.
Wow. So Kristen, what do you expect from the Black Girls Land program that we are about to?
Okay, so I think that it's an amazing idea of making this Black Girls Land, and basically I want us to teach people where they actually came from, and to show them that
the African history generally.
To teach their history,
the culture,
and culture,
food,
everything, and show them that not that the way the teachers teach you at school that this person created, when actually Black people, the secret inside the original secret of where it actually came from. I want us to teach about that to younger people who are growing up in places. Example, younger kids who go to school, and then there's lots of white people, and I'm sure they won't teach them much about their own history. So it's good that we have this program that we can teach them that where they actually where they came from, and all the things that they some of the things that they use are originally from where they are, so that they should be proud for where they are, not to think that that place is so poor. I don't want people to know I'm from there. You should be proud that you're from that.
Except what?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so happy for the show, and this is the first episode of Black Lives Matter from the children perspective. We're coming back for the second episode very soon, whereby we will come with the project of the Black Girls Land. Thank you for joining. Please, if you have any question, you can still ask, and also you can go to the website and send email to us. God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.